Well, that's been going on for almost a decade now. I'm kind of surprised it's been around so long, but it seems pretty wholesome. Naturally, any community that's lasted this long is bound to have had some drama, but most communities don't have the sheer number of skeletons in their closet that VTubing seems to. Pretending to be a woman. Not trans, by the way, just for money. Fraud, bullying, woman-dominated activity, I know. Corruption, greed, financial fraud, shockingly unrelated, Jewish people, sexual assault, suicide, brown people, black people, but not really, perversion, and other accusations as well. Too numerous to cover, no matter how long you have. Some accusations are true, others are false, and some are true, but were only for internet clout. Surprise, surprise, someone else is dead.
The heavy is dead.
So let's talk about it. I didn't want to just make this a long Twitter thread, so I'll be using the lack of a character limit and starting in 2011. According to my sources, i.e. the data, the first prototuber hit the scene over 14 years ago and was vastly different from what we think of now. The style is completely detached from anime and closer to a memoji, if by some anti-miracle you remember that. It's more like a filter than a rigged model using motion capture. Those would appear in 2016, right on time for the US presidential election. The election that would change everything. Everything in the US, that is. Actual VTubing started in Japan, and not everything revolves around US election cycles. Deep in a computer lab in Osaka or something, Professor Hojo, in collaboration between Activate and Shinra Electric Power Company, created something remarkable. He devised Hatsune Miku, but a real person. Kazuna AI was debuted shortly after, and other interactive entertainment companies would follow suit, building their own strange communities of digital women. It's not really as strange as I just put it, but it's not far off. Basically, the company provides model and rigging, and then takes a cut of profits, like donations and stuff. These companies are Activate, VShojo, Nijisanji, and Hololive. They're a lot like middlemen, but for entry into the VTubing community, as cross-company interactions are somewhat regular. This dynamic, while seemingly innocuous, lends itself to the aforementioned ills, and we arrive at, as far as I can tell, our first public drama. On the 16th of January in 2017, Kazuna AI's YouTube channel was suspended until the 4th of February that same year. Not really a drama, per se, or even notable for a new concept on YouTube, given that the channel only grew afterward, reaching 100,000 subscribers by the end of the month. You could say that the suspension was on purpose to kickstart growth, but starting so soon, I think that might be a stretch. Next, as far as I can tell, the first real VTuber drama happened in 2018, in which a new VTuber debuted on June 3rd of 2018 for Hololive, and would be cancelled only 3 weeks later. But where's the drama in that? Well, an older man who was working in management for the company offered the VTuber expensive streaming equipment in exchange for a relationship. I assume she said no, because afterward she was doxxed and fired from the company. I am completely unaware of what happened to the guy based off of this incident and future incidents. I assume he was not fired, but I'm not an expert. Now, it must be talked about. It was a big deal when it happened, but a lot of people gloss over it these days for some reason. Some still use it as a clip in video edits to express a sort of feeling of being exposed. So yeah, this growing VTuber called NoraCat spontaneously exposed itself as a fat dude under Industrial Hellscape Classic fluorescent lighting. This guy's actually still in the scene and was not completely ruined after this event. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how he's still around. Using rhetoric and reasoning, I want to see if I can find a definitive answer to the question, what is wrong with these people? Why is there a drama every month? Is it organic? That's why we're here. Before we get started, let's look at a few more examples to flesh out this abomination. At this point, we could call it an abomination, because it's killed somebody. It's killed somebody. I will also put them in a spreadsheet with basic information about the VTubers involved in the companies and stuff like that in different dramas. That's a lot. That's a lot. But there are a lot more that aren't covered here. This is only a couple. It's just the ones I found interesting enough and were easiest to find information on. We got some big ones, like the moldy mattress incident. It's actually one of the major reasons I wanted to make this video, because it's disgusting. It's disgusting. One that's quite innocuous is Bow the Whale not reading the EULA for SCEB, which is a site for commissioning art. SCEB's EULA allows artists to retain full intellectual control of their art. All in all, it's a rare, massive W for any artistic community. But Bow intended the commission to stay secret. The aforementioned SCEB EULA gives the artist full permission to post the piece elsewhere, spoiling the project. That's not really the drama, believe it or not. The drama is that she tried to cancel the artist afterward and pin the blame on SCEB. It's ridiculous because SCEB actually warns users before placing their first commission. 3 times. 3 times, actually. The warning comes up. It's very clear. It is broadly believed by intellectuals, such as my own audience, that this implies Bao has used the platform in prior instances for personal activities. I'm not making the accusation, but it would add up that certain content has been commissioned off of SCEB before. It's speculated that Bao the Whale is actually a man. I will put those rumors to rest right now. A man wouldn't argue like this. We've had plenty of drama in the past, even in the VTubing community. This is not how a man would argue this. People made accounts on SCEB, found the final warning message plain as day. It actually appears 3 times from making an account to placing your first commission. Bao denied this outright instead of accepting defeat and moving on. Let's cover one more before I get into my theory for why the VTubing community is the way that it is. It's one of the bigger dramas and probably the most representative of corporate VTubing as a whole. Back in 2024, Niji-sanji revealed itself to be the proverbial Esdeath's dungeon, but for VTubers, with Niji-sanji upper echelons as the nation, Illyria Pandora as the stand-in for Esdeath, Astra Arcadia as the top guy, and Niji-sanji general staff as her goon squad. I won't bother going over the exact events that transpired because I don't remember. Instead, I will explain the structure of harassment of the company and how it likely came to be. Everyone under corporate knows corporate will not step in, no matter what happens. This makes Illyria Pandora the de facto talent manager, with her stronger personality or seniority or something of the sort. Being catty and or insecure, she makes Astra Arcadia her top guy. Astra Arcadia likely seemed decent when this dynamic was forming, but I believe this dynamic is what led to Doki Bird's suicide attempt. With that, I think we can finally arrive at our conclusion. VTubing is a very, very female-centric space. That alone is not a bad thing, but many of the women who do VTubing are often quite insecure, especially those that are chronically online. This isn't slanderous or anything, it's just an observation. Combining the opportunity of joining a company like Niji-sanji, and in many ways the independent community, with an already incredibly lonely generation, and the occasional bad actor, is a dark recipe. Through intentionally creating power gaps in corporate structures to give talent freedom in their positions, it's quite simple for deceptive characters to fill those power gaps. I don't think it's always intentional though. Many who become VTubers are quite insecure, and it can, in situations like I believe Niji-sanji's to be, lead to even stronger-willed women like Illyria selecting bad number 2s for the clique as a whole, while she remains largely unaffected by the results of a poor decision. I'm gonna get a little sketchy. I think it makes my point. I think one of the best analogs to this situation with like Niji-sanji, etc., are brothels owned and operated by madams instead of pimps. Allow me to explain before you comment, please. I beg of you. Oftentimes, historically, or at least in media, but media had to have gotten it from somewhere, madams can be more cruel to their girls than regular pimps. It's quite a strange phenomenon, but it makes sense with the old saying, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Obviously, that's a bit extreme, but if we apply that, or something similar, We can infer that many madams were or are resentful of the attractive women beneath them. This also makes sense if we infer that many madams inherited their businesses from their dead husbands or fathers. Then we take that idea and we include the fact that historically most brothels in, for example, Poland were not run by Poles or even run by people who hated Polish people. So it makes sense that abuse would follow. It is clearly on a much smaller scale than something like that, though, as I think is acceptable common knowledge to point out at this point. Women don't tend to like other women very much. Just saying. It's like, I have two sisters and a mother. So that's 3 that I'm around often. And they're not very nice to other women. Taking a handful of women of a variety of ages with little in common and in a lot of cases somewhat poor social skills and shoving them into a hands-off corporate structure is bound to create power vacuums and tyrants. I'm not saying I hate VTubing or women, definitely not. Nothing like that. But at least on the corporate side, mismanagement is so ever present. It's hard to look at it and say that it is not on purpose to fabricate drama at an alarming rate for views. I think that's it. That's the script, at least. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. This was actually streamed on Kick, if you didn't know. Me reading the script, even. That's how I'm able to so quickly transition. So yeah. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, or don't. Don't recommend the channel if you see it in your recommendations again, if you really hate it. See ya.